everyone. We're going to be talking about manifesting a greater world despite all the tragedy that we're experiencing, and how do we push through this? How do we make a difference when we feel so much anguish, maybe so much anger? So, if you are interested in manifestation, watch this live. I am doing a 6-week course. It's starting at the end of January. What's up, everybody? I'm doing a manifestation course, and it's going to be amazing, and I'm super excited about it. If you want information about it, I will add the link to the caption, and I hope that you join. It's going to be life-changing, to manifest in the life we want. And, obviously today we're talking about, hold on, let me just put this in here. And you guys can look that up when you are ready to do that. But obviously there's a lot of things going on in the world that are heartbreaking, that are really difficult for people to navigate through. And I thought today is the perfect opportunity to talk about the map of consciousness. Many of you have had lives with me before where I spoke about the map of consciousness, because there's a lot of people that don't know what to do with their feelings or how to make change in their world when their world seems to be turning upside down. And the map of consciousness is a good way to explain how to transmute energy, or why it's important to transmute energy to raise your level of consciousness. Because when you get into the higher levels of consciousness, death, destruction, horror, all these things cannot exist. So it's not saying to spiritually bypass and not think of or look at the things that are happening that are bad. It's how to stay in a higher space, or a higher energetic space or vibration when things are going terribly wrong. What can you do that springs you into action that's going to help the collective energy? Is it sharing all the death and destruction? Probably not. But people need to know what's going on. What are you doing to help it? You or anyone sharing all of the things that keep people in a lower vibrational space, that keep people in a state of fear, is not going to help the collective energy. We can have gratitude for the people that are safe. We can have gratitude that people didn't lose their lives or lose their pets. Maybe they lost all of their things. And I thought about this, and this is just me speaking for myself. If this whole place caught on fire and I lost everything, it wouldn't sadden me, because I know that I can rebuild. I know what it would take for me to just continue moving forward. And that's just a mentality that I've had my whole life. When I moved out of my apartment in California, I took 5 bags of things, and the rest of it I just gave it all away. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't care about the things that we lose and things like that. I'm just saying, where can we put our energy that's going to at least help ourselves or help the collective to not stay in a state of fear or hopelessness or helplessness? Because every single one of us can help in some way or capacity. Even if we donate $1 to someone, to a cause, to someone that lost everything, to an animal organization. One person can say, oh, I'm not going to donate $1. It's not going to do anything. What's my dollar going to do? What if 1 million people said, I'm not going to donate $1. What's my dollar going to do? What if 5,000 people said, my dollar is not going to make a difference? That $5,000 would impact someone's life incredibly, for someone that just lost everything. So even though we might feel helpless with everything that's going on in the world, or the fires in particular right now, there are things that we can do. There are ways that we can help, even though we're not physically in the space. Our minds are what creates our reality. And when we continue to stay in this low vibrational sphere, we can only create more of that. So I'm going to talk about the map of consciousness. That was weird. And explain why we should not stay in the survival paradigm. So this is the map of consciousness. I know it's backwards, but down here is the survival paradigm where many people can relate to being. Then up here comes reason, and I think it's integrity, yes. And then this is spiritual paradigm up here. So I'm going to explain the survival paradigm. The lowest is shame. Then it's guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, and pride. Those are all the survival paradigms. So as long as we stay in that space, that's the only thing that I can create, that you can create, that people as individuals can create. So if collectively all people are doing are sharing all the bad things that are going on in the world, that's again keeping you in a low vibrational space or the survival paradigm. So if you want to be out of the survival paradigm, it's going into action. What can I do that's actually going to help people? Maybe I can't donate anything, but maybe I can share different donation links for people. Maybe I can send old clothing. Maybe I can drop my stuff off at a shelter. What are the things that you can contribute to in this world? I just cleaned out a bunch of stuff in my closet, and I have tons of things that I can give them to people that need them, because I don't. So what is it that you can do today, right now, that can get you into a higher vibrational space so that you can help to create the reality that you truly want? Because of the whole thing with Maui happened. And what happened? Everybody is trying to uncover what happened, what's going on, the blue roofs, the lasers, the direct energy weapons. We know that those things exist. But what are we doing about it? Because talking about it, being in that energetic space, it's literally an energetic weapon. It's a direct energy weapon. So being in the space and the vibration of direct energy weapons does not keep you moving toward the spiritual paradigm. That keeps you in the survival paradigm. I'm angry that they're doing this to us. I'm angry that people are losing everything. I'm angry that the government is doing this. I'm angry about this. So realistically, your anger is not doing anything to help. When we constantly share these things, what is the vibration of your Instagram page? What is it doing for the collective energy? So if we're constantly staying in a state of anger, that means we're in the survival paradigm. That means we're always in a state of survival. And if your energy that emanates off of you is always being in a state of survival, what can you only create from that? Our world mirrors our inner world. Our outer world mirrors our inner world. So if you're only in the survival paradigm of surviving at all times, you can only create that in your reality. So imagine millions and millions of people are angry all the time. Why are they doing this to us? What do you think that's going to create? What do you think that that's going to create? More of the same. That's it. So when we put this content out there, what is the vibrational energy of that? It's just going to give us more of the same. More things to see, more conspiracies to uncover. So you know the truth. Now what? Now you know the truth, now what? Maui happened. Nothing has changed. Now it's Los Angeles. Entire city burnt to the ground. What is going to change? What is the awareness changing? They got away with it in Maui, and now they got away with it in LA, one of the biggest and most famous cities in the entire world. So staying in the state of survival, is only going to give us more reasons or things that we need to survive from. So if we want to get and change the world, we need to get to reason and integrity, which is reason, acceptance, willingness, neutrality, courage. Courage is right above the survival paradigm. And then joy, peace, and love and enlightenment is all the way at the top. So I'm going to read this because I've explained this before. The only thing we really have to offer the world is our frequency, and this is written by my sister. So Dr. David Hawkins was able to chart a frequency scale called the map of consciousness, which I just showed. Starting at the lowest point is shame, measuring around 20. Anything below the level of 200 is powerlessness, destructive energy, moving away from source. Measuring 700 to 1,000, which is what Dr. Hawkins has been able to pinpoint very few beings at this level, is enlightenment, which are people like Jesus, Buddha, and Krishna. The most fascinating part of this map is that as long as we are vibrating above 200, now above 200 is courage. So anything above 200 here is courage. We can neutralize. So if we are vibrating at courage or above, we can neutralize negative energies on a large scale. So if you decide that you are going to rise in your level of consciousness to courage and above and constantly or try to act out of love, life becomes easier. Manifestation becomes easier. The things that you want and desire come to you more freely and naturally. For example, when one calibrates at 300, 300 is willingness. When one person calibrates at 300, they have the ability to transform the negative vibration of 90,000 people. That's one person that just constantly emanates willingness. They can transmute the negative vibration of 90,000 people at 500, which is love. So this is a person that just radiates love all the time. One person can transform 750,000 people, the negative energy of 750,000 people. So if you see and understand, if we start to rise in our level of consciousness as individuals, collectively, everything on this earth starts to change because everything is frequency, energy, and vibration. If one person vibrates at 700, which again, Jesus, Buddha, and Krishna, you can transmute the energy of 70 million people. So imagine that. Why Jesus was crucified was because he knew how to manipulate energy on a scale that no one has ever seen. So if you people, Christians, whomever, that say, what would Jesus do? Or I want to be like Jesus. Most people that are Christians are the biggest hypocrites on earth, but we'll just leave that somewhere else. They don't operate on this scale. But I'm not going to get into that. When you want to say that you want to be like Jesus, Jesus was up here to enlightenment. He could transmute the energy of 70 million people. Why do you think they killed him? Because if that's the truth, that one person that reaches the level of enlightenment can transmute the negative energy of 70 people, we would only need 2 handfuls of people to transmute the energy of everybody on planet Earth. And what does that mean? That means that this negative energy, this death and destruction, cannot live here anymore. So when people say that we're moving into a different state of consciousness, or the earth is moving into a different level of consciousness, that this death and destruction has to happen because it's shaking and removing all the things that shouldn't be here. There's a million different ways that people say and explain and look at this. But if you just take the responsibility into your own hands and say that if I raise my level of vibration, I can at least change my world. And if I change my world, that means that I'm going to change the energy of other people. If I continue to raise my level of consciousness, if I continue to be in a state of courage or willingness or neutrality, that all the people around me I'm going to affect. We have to understand that when we get to higher levels of vibration, even at reason and integrity, which is right in the middle, when we get up away from the survival paradigm, all of the negative things cannot exist anymore in your reality. And it doesn't mean that you turn your eye and you look away from it. It just starts to not exist anymore. There are millions of planes of existence that are all happening, parallel realities that are happening at the same time, and you get to decide what energy you tap into at all times of the day. At all times of the day, you get to decide what energy field you're going to tap into. Are you going to tap into the survival paradigm where people are angering you all the time, where you walk around with pride, where you live life with shame and guilt? Or are you going to make the conscious decision to say, I'm not living in the survival paradigm anymore? Bad things are happening all over the world. People are losing all their homes and everything to fires and all the other death and destruction that's going on. How am I going to help? I'm going to help by raising my vibration. And when my vibration is higher, I make different decisions. And when I make different decisions, I can help other people better. I can be better, therefore I can help others to be better. If I'm helping myself to be better, I'm changing my reality. If my reality includes other people, my energy and vibration is going to influence other people as well. The more people, lives that change, the more courageous and willingness, exactly. The more people who go up in vibration, the more that the world changes. So this is why I keep explaining this. That the world can only shift when we shift. The world can only shift when we shift in consciousness. Because everything is energy. I don't give a shit which way you twist and turn this. Everything is energy. King Chip in the house. Sound is low. Can you guys hear me? Or is my sound low for everybody? Because if not, then I'm just talking to myself. So I'm going to read from The Map of Consciousness Explained by David Hawkins. And I thought that this was a good place. Okay, you guys here. So the more conscious and loving a person becomes, the greater their impact on the world at large. I'm going to read that again. The more conscious and loving a person becomes, the greater their impact on the world at large. Thank you, guys. The whole premise of Hawkins' work resonates with common sense. Negativity drains. Positivity uplifts. Positive energy fields, which is courage, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, are more powerful than negative ones. Shame, apathy, fear, anger, pride, because they are aligned with the energy of life itself. Love is the energy of life itself. Harmony is something that should come natural to us. Living in harmony with our environment. Living in harmony with other people. Why do we live in disharmony with others? Because of their vibration. Because of my vibration. The only reason you live in disharmony with someone else is one, first and foremost, you live in disharmony with yourself. If you live in disharmony with other people, it's because you have disharmony in here. So if you think that you're going to change the outside world by you being negative all the time, by you being combative all the time, by you always having a chip on your shoulder, thinking that the world is just doing you a huge disservice because you're just unlucky. It's your vibration. It's the energy that you're putting out on a daily basis. Love heals. So again, if you're in disharmony with the world, you're in disharmony with yourself. You can't create harmony when you are in disharmony. You can't create harmony within your world if you are not harmonious within yourself. You're jealous. You have a victim mentality. Must be nice, you can do this. All those type of things. Love heals. Fear constricts. Courage moves us forward. Grief holds us back. Many of us know, for example, the courage it takes to let go of grief and to love again after we've lost our love mate to death or to divorce. Each energy field represents a view of life that makes sense to those at that level of consciousness. Endless arguments go on between people at different levels because the world they are seeing is literally a different world. Just like people with politics. It doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong. You are literally living in a different reality. So you could look at someone politically and say, how could they like this person? And the other person is looking at you saying, how could you like that person? We are living in different realities. If my consciousness is different from your consciousness, no amount of words or facts are going to change anyone's mind. So when we all start to raise our level of consciousness, we start to live more in harmony. Because we don't see things as your side versus my side. We see things from a place of being in harmony. So politically, when I look at politics, I don't believe anything. I look at it as it's a show. I don't look at it as it's one side or the other. I see both perspectives. Maybe I don't agree with either of them. Maybe I agree more with one side than the other. But as long as I keep my vibration in a higher space, that doesn't affect my energy. People allow religion, politics, the color of their skin to affect their vibrational frequency. Imagine just being so hateful that you hate somebody because of the color of their skin. And there are people that are like that. Imagine hating somebody or not wanting to be friends with them anymore because they voted for Donald Trump and not Kamala Harris. Imagine the kind of vibration you have to be on to think like that. And the fucking problem is there's way too many people that think like that, which is why Earth right now is screaming, crying. Because there isn't harmony here. Maybe there's harmony out in the wild where the animals live. They're in harmony. They're not at war with each other. The lions aren't at war with the tigers. So if we want change, and we're in this low vibrational space of you're gay or you're trans or you're this and putting people into every single box that you possibly can, you're in a low vibrational space. You're not in harmony with yourself, and you're certainly not in harmony with the rest of the world. So if you want to be of service, the first thing that you can do is become harmonious with yourself so that you could be of service to other people, because you're not even of service to yourself. So people are literally seeing a different world. If one is wearing red colored glasses, everything will appear red no matter how strong the case is presented by those wearing green colored glasses. Is the world green or is it red? The world you see depends on the lens you are looking through. A person struck in grief, for example, sees nothing but the past. They talk about what used to be. A lot of frustration is eased when one realizes that people aren't bad. They are simply seeing life the way they see it because of the lens that they have. That lens is their level of consciousness. When we see things only through our lens and no one else's, that is also us being in a low vibrational space. That we don't see things from other people's point of view. You have a very narrow lens of what the world should be because you think that it should only be the eye that you look through. Everyone is on a different vibrational level and a different vibrational frequency, therefore they have different experiences. But again, if when we are going through very difficult times on Earth right now and you stay in the survival paradigm, you are only further contributing to the death and destruction on this world, in this world. The book I'm reading from is The Map of Consciousness Explained by David Hawkins. So when things are going horribly wrong is really the best time for you to think about, how can I raise my level of vibration and consciousness so that I can help and assist in raising the vibration of the planet so that I'm not contributing to the next catastrophic event. Yes, I'm posting this live. I post all my Mondays. How can we create change when we're stuck? Being afraid, oh my God, they're going to do something to us. What if there's a nuclear bomb and all this other thing? How do we create change through that kind of negative shit? We don't. We only add to helping the evil forces here with our energy and through our energy create the next catastrophic event. So right now, while you're in a state of fear or panic, even when there's darkness, and again, it's not about spiritually bypassing. It is not about that at all. It's helping the collective realize that the reason these things keep happening is because we live in the survival paradigm. We live in shame and guilt and anger and grief and fear, desire, anger, and pride. We live in those things. Jess said, which is why they focus so hard on fueling the fear. Mainstream media is only propaganda. Why? Why do they spend so much money on the mainstream media? Because they get to control the narrative of planet Earth. Because we allow them in our consciousness. We allow them to tell us how many people are dying from a virus. We allow them to tell us that, oh, China has nuclear weapons. We allow them into our consciousness. And if you allow anyone or anything or any thoughts into your consciousness that don't serve you for your greatest and highest good, you already lost. You already lost the game. There's no coming back unless you turn the TV off, unless you get control of your mind and your thoughts. MD Mullen said, think about how powerful we are. They're constantly trying to grab our attention. Why? Why do they want our attention? Because if they can keep people controlled, if they can keep people disempowered, you're always losing the game of life. As long as someone else has control over why you're afraid, or what decision you're going to make next, or if you don't do this, God is going to think that. You only have this many months to live. If you allow someone outside of you the power to control everything about your mind, you already lost the game. You're done. Give up. Or understand that all these things just keep me in a space of negativity. And I can't change my life if I'm in a state of negativity. I can only create more of the same. And if I don't want more of the same, I have to really, really try hard to live in a state of courage, to live in a state of neutrality where things can, for the most part, to a state of neutrality. Politics cannot affect a thing in my life. For 2020, I was like rageful and crazy and whatever. Politics is not even the realm of my thinking at all whatsoever. Nothing about anything political can anger me or alter my vibration. I've been in neutrality with religion for a very long time because religion does not control me. Religion is man-made. I have my own spirituality. I have my own ways that I think and believe. And nobody can change that or take that from me no matter what they say or do or this or that. How can you get to a state of neutrality with all the crazy things that are happening in life right now? To where you can just look at everything from a view up here and just look at everything and see it, observe it, but don't absorb it. Don't absorb the energy around you. How do we get to these spaces so that we can manifest a greater world in spite of all of the things that are going wrong? That's an inside job. That's the inside job. Is changing in here, even though all the things out here are going wrong, it's because of my consciousness in here. So once we understand that the reason why our world is chaotic is because we're chaotic on the inside, you could say, okay, you know what? I'm going to change this. What is a small thing that I can do? I could start with gratitude. Benny's in here. He talks about gratitude every time he's on here. I can start with a gratitude list when I wake up. What am I grateful for today? We can start with something small like that. Because our consciousness doesn't shift in a day. It takes work to rewire, to reprogram the mind from all of the things that we've been taught, all the negativity in our life, all of the mean things that someone might have said to us. It takes time. It takes effort to rewire, but it's not something that's impossible. It just takes, it's like a job. It's like your new job. It's so hard at first. It's so hard at first. It's so hard at first. It's a little bit easier today. It's a little bit easier today. It's a little bit easier today. And all of a sudden, the negative thoughts that once creep in your mind every minute of the day, maybe they're there 50% of the time. Maybe you get to a point where 75% of your negative thoughts are gone. And maybe you get to a point where negativity isn't a part of my life anymore. With that comes real change. People are going to vibrate out of your life. Why? Because of this map of consciousness. When people are constantly vibrating down here, and you've elevated maybe up to courage or willingness, neutrality, all the people down here that you used to resonate with, they will probably fall out of your reality, or they will shift and change with you. One of two things. That's it. So when things are going horribly wrong in life, it's up to us to say, what is the lesson here? What am I looking at here? How can I change things here? How can I get into the state of the wish fulfilled, like Neville Goddard has always talked about? Living in the state of the wish fulfilled is seeing in your mind what it is or what kind of life that you want to have, and you see it and you feel it as if it's already happened. People say that's impossible. It hasn't happened. Everything is created in the mind first, and then it comes to your outside world. So if we're constantly in a state of fear all the time, eventually fear happens in your world. Imagine the entire collective energy of millions or billions of people are always in a state of fear. Imagine how powerful it is that all that energy is being funneled into one thing, which is fear. How big that becomes. It becomes the all-powerful. Wow. Millions or billions of people live in the state of fear. Do you think that if billions or hundreds of millions of people live in a state of fear every day, that we could create the most harmonious utopia on earth? It ain't happening. So if you want to live in that state of fear, you're adding to the collective of the millions and millions and millions of people that are already in that state of fear. But if you want to have the balls to say, you know what, I am going to rise up out of fear. I'm going to start to be courageous. Maybe courage is using your voice, speaking your mind. Arnique, send me a DM about that. Maybe it's the smallest thing. I'm going to do something that I've always been afraid to do. Maybe it's, I'm going to call that person that I'm really angry at, and I'm going to tell them that I love them. That's courage. That's courage. Speaking my mind gets me in trouble. If it gets you in trouble, you're talking to the wrong people. Because if you're speaking your mind and what is truth to you, and it gets you in trouble, depending on what you say, as long as you're not being mean. But when we step into courage, we step into the reason and integrity paradigm, which is above the survival paradigm. So if you want to help change the world, you have to change your energy. Changing your energy means changing your thoughts. Can you get out of the space of thinking that I'm not good enough? This never works out for me. I don't have enough money. How am I going to pay for this? Relationships never work out for me. If we're constantly in that state, we're never going to get out of this. Why bother even trying? That's the state of victimhood. So if you're in a state of victimhood, you're in the survival paradigm. The question is, do you want to live in the survival paradigm for the rest of your life? Because if you do, you're just helping the rest of the collective energy of millions and millions and millions of people also living in that energy that can only create more of the same. So imagine if millions and millions of people lived in the state of courage or lived in the state of being more loving or accepting. Imagine what the world would look like then. You have to understand that all of these really, really difficult scenarios and situations and death and destruction, all that stuff can only operate from low levels of vibration. If the world, the majority of the world, was in a high vibrational state, it simply cannot exist. The vibrations are so different and far apart. If you're in love and joy and happiness, death and destruction is all the way down here. In shame, guilt, fear, anger, pride. They literally are on different frequencies. Do you see this? It's like you want to listen to hip hop and country music at the same time. You can't. They're on different frequencies. It's not going to happen. So if you want to change the world and help the collective change, it's you that has to change. So I intend that was helpful for today. Yes, I'll repost this. If you want to join the 6-week course, it's my first course on manifesting. And I'm really excited about it, actually. You can go to nourishmysoulretreats.org and you can message me with any questions if you have any questions about the course. But I would love to help you elevate to your next level of consciousness. And let me just read. We can do it together. So I'm sending you guys lots of love, and I'll see you all this week.